Cheap Homesteading, and today we're going to make a very simple tomato sauce recipe. It is so busy in the fall that you have to keep things as simple as possible. And I've looked at a lot of people making tomato sauces that they can, and it becomes a huge ordeal. And you know what? I just don't have time for that. So I kind of came up with a way of making good quality tomato sauce, but still not spending the rest of your life trying to do it. Basically all it is we wash the tomatoes, slice them up, throw them in a pot, put garlic and basil, and we just basically boil it until it's nice and soft. We get the whizzer and we whiz it until it's smooth enough to be tomato sauce. A lot of other people have these huge elaborate ways of doing it, and I just don't have time to do that. So what a lot of people do is they de-skin it, they squeeze the tomato seeds out of it. I don't do any of that. I basically let it cook and whiz it, and then we can it. Just because you just don't have time to do it, and then you end up not doing it because it's too much work. You do have to do things in a way that is simple enough that you're able to do it in the life that you lead, because it's busy, especially in the fall it's busy. So we're gonna start on it. So what I got is 4 bins of tomatoes. These are from last week, and basically these are from this week when I finished closing up the garden. I might be able to use a few out of here because they seem almost ripe enough, but the rest of them have to ripen a lot more. So we'll be doing one more go at canning before the end of the year, but let's go wash these up. Okay, so we're going to fill up the sink with water, put the tomatoes in it. These tomatoes were practically green not long ago. I was kind of worried that they weren't going to ripen, but tomatoes are amazing how well they ripen. I always heard you have to put the tomatoes in a window to get them to ripen, but these here, I just left them in the bin, and they pretty well ripened on their own. So I don't think it's as much based on sunlight as what people thought, because these ripened really good on their own. We're going to take the tomatoes, destem them, chop them up, and put them in the big pot. It is definitely handy to have a nice big pot because you can do it all in one go. It saves a lot of time. Okay, so you get a paring knife and I cut out the center. Make sure any bad spots you cut off. And then you just cut it up. I normally cut it into quarters. Move to the next one. You don't want to spend a ton of time. See that bad spot? I cut that out. Cut it into quarters. Keep going. So there you go, we got it all cut up. We'll fill it up with water. A little bit more. Now we have the water and the tomatoes in the pot. We're going to get the garlic and the spices. I think a pot that size can probably take the whole clove of garlic. Now we're going to put basil and oregano in. So we'll throw the lid on, let it simmer for a little while. It's been simmering for a little while now, so we'll take a look, and that looks perfect. Okay, so when the tomatoes start to look like this, it is ready to zip them up. What I use, got a Cuisinart Smart Stick. It's just basically a hand blender. Make sure it's fully blended. It may take a little while. It doesn't matter if you have little chunks of tomatoes left. I mean, realistically, in a tomato sauce or something that you use, you won't notice it. This is the easy homemade tomato sauce recipe. You know what? If you make it too complicated, you just don't have time to do it. So you got to make things simple as possible. And you know, now it is done, and we just got to run it through the water bath canner. So it'll store in the pantry, and you'll enjoy it all year long. So that's about enough for today. You guys have a good one.